Hello there, everyone. Today I'm joined by Fine Editions, also known as Brady, from the Fine Editions YouTube channel. He's the host of the Comlink Chatter podcast series on there, as well as our mutual friend Sam, who actually, the first episode of Talking Star Wars EU was with Sam. And now we've finally got Brady on as well. He's a great friend. I absolutely love talking with Brady about Star Wars. And I've been on his channel several times. He's been on my channel for some live streams and stuff like that. Really knowledgeable EU fan, and beyond that, a great guy. So very happy to have him on today. Thanks so much for coming on. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad we can finally get to this.
Yeah, we had a little couple of delays with some sickness, but we finally made it through. And I'm glad that we finally got you on so that we can learn how you got into Star Wars.
Yep.
And with that said, how did you get into the Star Wars universe?
The Star Wars universe. Okay, so I kind of had Star Wars around, I'd say my entire life, I think. Like, we'd have plates, we'd have some things here and there, and they'd have Star Wars, because Phantom Menace prequels, they were big at the time I was growing up. But I never really caught on to it. I was just like, oh, that's that space thing over there. But I was about 6 years old, and my grandma came over, and she brought with her the blue VHSs. I think it was the One Last Time Star Wars trilogy before they did the special editions.
Gotcha.
And we were sitting down. We were starting the movie, and I was playing with my toys, and I was just a little too loud. And she was like, "All right," so because she wanted to watch it, with everyone there. She was like, "All right, so you're gonna either play with your toys in another room or be quiet and watch the movie." Which I was like, "Okay, I'll watch the movie." So I watch it. Opening crawl, it's boring. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't read." And then I start to see it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is great." And then I'd watch the next one, and I was like, "What? Darth Vader's Luke's father? They took that from Toy Story 2, um, and then I'd watch Return of the Jedi, and I'm like, "Whoa, Darth Vader looks weird under his mask." But that's my first experience with the movies. And then I always wanted a lightsaber, and so I ended up getting that for my birthday. This was around the time that Episode 3 was coming out. And so all the toys were everywhere, and I started to pick up on, oh my gosh, this plate has Darth Vader, or no, it has like Anakin on it. This has this. That's a lightsaber. I'm starting to get these references in movies. But I would go to the library, and I would see all these Star Wars books and these audiobooks and stuff. And I was like, oh, there's more to it. Because I asked my mom, I was like, what's next? What's after this? I went to see Episode 3 whenever I was about 6 years old. And before that, my brother, I think, was flipping through the channels, and there was a 2D animated Star Wars show, The Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Not The Clone Wars, just Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, yeah.
I always thought that was a stutter. Like, it was hard to say. Star Wars, Clone Wars.
Yep.
But I would catch that, and I would get upset because it would cut to commercial and it wouldn't come back on. But I didn't understand that it was before the like Friday night cartoons or whatever it was. And then I discovered it at the library, and I would get that thing like every week. I would like switch between part 1 and part 2. And
they had it on DVD at like the library.
Yes.
Nice.
And I was like, this is great. But I ended up going into Episode 3, having seen the prologue in the TV show,
Mm.
and I saw General Grievous, and I was like, "Oh, this is that's the dude from there." And that's I would say that was probably my first step into the expanded universe. My mom would read me the Junior Jedi Knights books. I'd
That's
listen to
so
like
cool.
I'd listen to the Truce of Bakura
Mm.
audiobook. Um, but that was kind of my one step into a larger world. Um, my grandparents did get me some of the source books, or like the encyclopedias, the essential characters, vehicles, and weapons,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
the different visual dictionaries, and I'd be like, "Oh, what's this? Oh, that's a comic book. Wait,
Mm.
Chewbacca dies? Spoiler alert, people." Um, but I started to see like Dark Empire. I started to see all these different things here, Luke's Jedi Academy, but I never got really into the books.
Mm.
It was more so that added on to my imagination. Um, but I was about, I think I was 12, and my grandparents excuse me, got me Darth Plagueis, and I had a lot of trouble reading, and so it was hard for me to kind of follow with the story,
Yeah.
especially it being Darth Plagueis. There's all these references and things.
And
I
it
would just
spans a lot of time too and
it
jumps
does,
around. Yeah.
which I think I've got the hardcover over here of it, the one that they gave me.
Nice.
It's somewhere, but
That's a valuable present from your grandparents
it
there.
is. They
All
also
this
got
time
me
later.
Coruscant Nights, the hardcover,
Nice.
and I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
what? Because they loved reading. They had a subscription to Sci-Fi Book Club, and so
Wow.
I think they would get it, read it, then they'd gift it to me, or something like that. But I read, I got it on Audible, and because I really liked audiobooks, I'd listen to like the Inheritance Cycle um, books on audiobook, and so my mom was like, "We'll just get this Star Wars book on here," um, and so I listened to that, and went, "Oh my gosh, this is great! I need more." So I read Darth Bane. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need more." So I read Darth Revan, and that was all of the Sith books, really. I mean, there were some, but they didn't just have Darth on the
Yeah,
title.
in the title.
Yeah, like I knew Darth Bane, but Revan I learned from uh, Plagueis and Darth Bane, because I was like, oh, that's Revan. That's one of the Sith Lords. Um, and so I was just kind of like, well, what's next? What I want to know about the Sith. I want to know about the Old Republic. They
Yep.
talk about all these other things, but they were the comic books. Um, and so my mom had got me the audiobook for Heir to the Empire, and so that shut me off in that direction too. But that's kind of how I've gotten into the novels. I later got into the comic books too, because I ventured into a comic book store, and the Disney canon was too expensive for me. They had some of the single issues of the Tales of the Jedi for like 75. Oh, no, a quarter to 50 cents, sometimes even $1.
Yeah, every time you tell me that aspect of like your like journey into the EU, like I'm always just like, oh man, so jealous, but at the same time so happy for you.
I would come back with like 20 comics.
Oh yeah, a
Eh,
stack.
Yeah, and I'm like, I only spent like $5 or $10, like, because
Yeah,
I didn't have a job. I didn't want to pay $5 for the Disney canon books,
yeah.
which, and then
Like
I
it's
was
like
like,
you could get 5 of these or more, or you could get one of these.
yeah,
Is kind of like how it was with those single issues.
because I liked both of the canons. It was Star Wars. I knew about the reboot. I also was kind of brainwashed by oh, the expanded universe was never canon, and it's like, wait a minute. I mean, it was by your standard, it was. If you say the new canon's canon, then the old canon was.
Yep.
Um, whether George Lucas liked it that day or not, because he was in his moods, um, but yeah, so that's how I got into it.
So from an early age, you were aware that there was all this more narrative to the expanding universe, and since you saw the Tartakovsky Clone Wars on screens, and then saw Grievous again in Revenge of the Sith, it
Yeah,
seems like you were aware like pretty early on, since like the beginning, that like it could all connect, it could all
right.
influence each other. Like there wasn't like a distinction, like the movies are like the top thing, and all this stuff is just other stuff. It sounds like you thought that like it could influence each other, and like it was all a part of like one broader narrative. Would that
Right.
be the case?
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it now, like a lot of things, they're just not as connected.
Mm,
But as a kid, it's like, of course, this would make sense.
yeah,
And for some reason, I got lucky and this thing actually connected very well.
yeah,
Um, where, like, you have DC and Marvel that doesn't connect very well. And that's probably why, I'm into Star Wars a bit more. Not just because of the continuity. The stories are fantastic, but it's definitely a plus. Um, but I always got the vibe that, well, they're connected. Um,
yeah.
but yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. So, as you were starting to read some of these books, starting to read some of these comics, which ones started to jump out to you as some of your favorites, some highlights, and what would the reasons be for those being among your top tier?
Okay. So I, g- for some reason, I don't know why, I love. Um, I mean, I obviously love Star Wars so much. I'm here on this channel. I made my own channel, but there are things that, like, I can't make like tier lists that are very like concrete. Like
It can
sometimes I'm
change on
feeling,
any day.
yeah, especially with some of the bigger stuff. Like, I credit Darth Plagueis to being the book that got me into the expanded universe, even though I had read some other things. But that was the one that made me go, oh, there's more here. I can get into this realm here. Because I had watched the TCW show, and I was starting to kind of get bored of it a little bit, or I was getting bored of Star Wars. I was like, there's no more movies. There's just, one episode a week. Okay, I guess that's what Star Wars is now. And then I get Darth Plagueis, and it ties into even TCW with Darth Maul, and I'm like, oh, perfect. Okay, this is the way in. Um, and so then it just doubling down more. Um, but my favorite would, at least the ones that stood out to me in the realm of novels, I would say the Darth Plagueis and the Darth Bane books. Um,
Great
as a
choices. Great choices.
for like the Old Republic, I'll probably do a lot of looking around. Um, even though I think that they're great. They're great ways to get into the expanded universe, the Thrawn trilogy, or even the Timothy Zahn Thrawn storyline. I think that's a big prominent one that sticks out to me.
Yeah,
Um, but I think the thing that I've really been, oh, also the Jedi Academy trilogy. And like any story with the Jedi Academy, those are standout ones. Um, just Jason Solo, Jaina Solo, Anakin, even like Kip Duran, different characters in that. I really
yeah.
like the, it's not really a series, but like this series of books that take place with the Yavin 4 Academy.
So that
Um,
would encompass you love I Jedi as well, then in there.
I actually only read the Jedi Academy
Okay,
parts of I Jedi, but
gotcha.
from that I enjoyed that. I do want to reread that, having read the X-Wing series, or at
Yep.
least the Cornhorn parts. But in the comic realm, I would say that Tales of the Jedi, uh,
Which is
we're
being gone
reviewing.
through on the
Yep,
Comlink Chatter podcast.
we've. Oh my gosh, what did we talk for like 3 hours?
Yep.
Just about or five comic books.
Yep.
Um, but those ones, KOTOR, which I'm looking forward to getting into once we get through Tales of the Jedi. Um, the the Clone Wars, not the Republic
Yep.
comics,
Yep.
and I also include Dark Times in there as well because
It's the
it's
sequel
a
series.
sequel, yeah. And then probably Legacy too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: it's so hard to pick because like I also love the 77 series.
So good. I have it
There's
in volumes here. It's
I'm
amazing.
very jealous. But some of those ones, and then a few of the little mini series like the Dark Empire, the Crimson Empire, some of that New Republic stuff.
Yeah.
I I would say the comic books I really like. Like I'm
Yeah.
really into those. The novels I'm into as well, but I'd say that the comic books are the ones that stand out the most
You've
to me.
in your journey through the expanding universe, you've almost finished or have finished. I know you were getting close, right, with reading like through all the comic books, right?
Yes, I believe so. There was one comic book that came to mind whenever I was streaming last.
Mhm.
It was the Ewoks one.
The
Um,
old like Marvel Ewoks comic
no,
or
I've
the
the
graphic
the
novella,
the graphic novella.
Shadows of Endor.
I might have read that one. I might not have, but I feel bad bragging that I've read all the Star Wars EU comics, and so I need to probably after this I'm going to finger through them. Um, but to my knowledge, I have to check on that one. Believe that I've read every comic that is like put in print
Yeah.
because I don't count the web comics yet, or like the ones not printed yet. It's just hard to find, or um, you know, I just wanted to have kind of a category of like, okay, I achieved this.
Yep.
Now it's time achieve this here. Um, but yeah, that's comic books are. It's kind of quick and easy, especially life being a bit chaotic as of recently, getting married and family and moving and all kinds of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's an amazing accomplishment. I've not made it through the latter half of Star Wars Tales yet, so I'm ambling my way through there, and then I'll have joined you after I've picked off those last couple handful of stories. I
nice.
mean, like you said, the comics are so good, but they, as we've talked about several times before, they are a little bit hard to collect.
Yeah.
How do you like to collect your comic books?
So I prefer like if I'm wanting just the physical print, the hardcover omnibus Marvel ones are nice.
Yeah,
But if I'm wanting to read them, the Epic collections are kind of nice. They're a bit bulky a little bit, but the trades are they're definitely the better looking ones, and um, then I do like single issues, but they're just hard to store. So I'd say
yeah,
the most practical being the omnibus, the hardcover one that has like 20 comics in it. But then the more ones that I enjoy, I'd say, are the trades.
yeah. I concur completely with you. I think they're the nicest on a shelf, the nicest size to hold. Just 5 to 6 issues being like in one seems like a solid amount to have like bundled together.
Yeah. Also, if you can get them cheap digitally, that doesn't.
Mm.
I know that it doesn't have value, but if you're wanting to just read them, do that. You'll save space, money. Um, you could even, if you're too worried about it being taken off of, you could scan them or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, or even if you're wanting something like a Netflix type thing, Marvel Unlimited has, I think, a good portion of the main series stuff. Like that's how I've been reading a lot of the ones for the channel.
Yeah.
I'll just pull it up on that and read through it. But yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different avenues there for that. As far as the novels, as in comparison to the comics, how far through the novels are you?
Not as much as the comics, of course. I think I've got a good majority of pre New Jedi Order read. There might be about 10 or 12 ones that I've not read, but then um, after Balance Point, I've not read any of the novels
Gotcha.
um, that I know of. It's kind of hard to look at my shelf now that they're out of chronological order, but yeah, I have, to my knowledge, I haven't read any of those. I've read like, I think I've read almost all of the New Republic ones, maybe a few X-wing and a few like the Bounty Hunter Wars. I think I just read one of those. They're kind, excuse me, they're kind of rough. Those ones.
Yeah, as our friend Alex will attest to.
Yes.
Um, but that's still a sizable chunk of Star Wars novels that you've read. You've
Mhm.
talked about and highlighted a couple novels and comics that are your standout favorites. On the flip side of that, there's always going to be some lows. So, where would you go to for some lows in terms of novels and comic books?
Okay. I'm gonna do a lot of head turning to kind of excuse me. I would say I'll kind of base this off of retainment because some of these books I haven't read in a long time. Some of them have been very recently. I wasn't a big fan, or at least I didn't retain very well Fatal Alliance.
Mm,
Um, but that one, and then I might have to do a reread of them because I don't know, just looking at them in a different light. But the what is it? Children of the Jedi and Planet of Twilight.
yeah.
I I don't know. I then again I didn't read what was the second one in that
Dark
series?
Saber.
Dark Saber. I didn't read that one. Uh, so I might have hurt myself in that way. I haven't read Crystal Star yet, even though I make Waru jokes all the time.
Of
Uh,
course.
but so those ones for the novels weren't really stand out to me. But also, I wasn't a big fan of the Diversity Alliance story arc
Mm,
from Young Jedi Knights. Um, those I cannot remember what happened. I remember I read it. I probably retained it for a bit, but it was just in and out. Um,
gotcha.
I preferred um, the Dark Academy ones, um, but yeah, that's kind of that's what I got for the novels. For the comic books, um, I wasn't a big fan of Underworld.
The Yavin Basilica or something like that
Yeah,
was the subtitle.
something like that. I
Yeah,
was really looking forward to it because I thought maybe they took some ideas from the Underworld TV show or the video games related to that, but
yeah.
no, no.
Mm-mm. The
Um,
art itself isn't even that good in that series.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I also TCW. I could go on a rant about it even more so because um, I think Sheev Talks does a TCW
Yeah,
review. There are things that I didn't notice that it's even worse. It feels like eventually I'll review them when I do, I'll rewatch it, but it's gonna
Good
be.
luck, soldier.
Thank you. Um, Also, I wasn't a huge fan of Crimson Empire 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Council of Blood, right?
Yes. I wasn't the biggest fan because Crimson Empire 1 was just like action pack adventure, and so I was
Solid.
expecting that, and then it's like political, and I'm like, okay, not that I don't like politics in Star Wars. I think my expectations were just off. Maybe once I go through and reread it, I might find some appreciation. Um, Although I do like No Manor in it.
That was solid.
Yeah. Um, but I think there was also some story arcs in Republic that I might have just. I think I made the mistake of reading like all of the Quinlan Voss stuff at once.
The best stuff.
I I think if I read it the way it was like
My boy.
published, yes, I see. I'm quite aware. I've got a hot take. I like Cade Skywalker better than Quinlan Voss.
No,
um,
I can't be mad at that. I love Kate as well.
yeah. Which I feel like their characters are very similar,
Barry,
and
yeah.
and
Same
I'm
with Jason Solo when he goes into sort of his Kaitis arc. That's
yeah.
why like those three are some of my top tier ones.
Okay. All right. But I am. We haven't really talked about it, but we might be going through Quinlan Voss's first story arc in on Comlink Chatter,
Very exciting.
or either next week or coming soon. I don't know. Um, but I do want to give those another chance. Kind of go through it publication order and kind of have it spaced out, and it's not just Quinlan Voss is doing another thing. Oh, he's doing another thing. Oh, he's doing another thing. Because I
Yep.
actually read them out of order. I read the Clone Wars comics before the earlier arcs because I got them at. I think I got them. They were used at a comic store. I think I got the whole series of the Clone Wars ones for. They were half cover price, so like $7
Nice.
each.
For like the 9 volume sets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's such a nice set.
yeah. I think it was missing like two of them or something.
Yeah,
One
like
of them.
Honor and Duty wasn't in there. The
What was
graphic
the?
novel. Uh,
Oh, from the set that I
oh,
bought,
oh,
I
okay.
was missing some. Which have I read Honor and Duty? I probably have. If not, I'll read it whenever we review it.
Yeah,
But yeah, the only one that I'm missing from that is When They Were Brothers, I think.
it's an
Volume 8.
expensive one.
Yeah, it's like $50. And I'm like, "Oh, that's I don't go too far with those. I wait till they're like I can get an acceptable copy or something, or I find it at the thrift store.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, because I'd rather just get the Epic collection, like even though it looked nice as a complete set.
yeah,
But yeah,
for sure. It sounds like as you were going through that you don't have too many like low spots for
yeah,
the EU. Would you say the overall bar for the Star Wars expanded universe is pretty high overall? Like maintained a pretty consistent, like good quality.
I think so. Um, there there's some things that I could see how people would have issue with it,
Mm,
but there's some things that I'm like, it's fine, whatever. Um, the Brian Wood Star Wars. I kind of enjoyed it, but then as I realized that it was contradicting things, I kind of developed some issue with it. It felt like just a reboot,
yeah.
but uh, I'll probably reread those eventually because I think they're considered EU again. Is that what I hear?
It's kind of a gray area, but yeah,
Uh,
that's like a whole can of worms with those Brian Wood
yeah,
Star Wars comics.
for
Yeah,
sure. But yeah, I think Oh, Dawn of the Jedi. I did not. I wasn't a fan of. I
Book
think
or comics or
I,
both?
the comics I wasn't a big fan of. Um, Again, I might have to go through a reread of those. I'll give anything expanded universe another chance.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I feel like because there's some things that like people say that they absolutely hate, like Red Harvest. I enjoyed Red Harvest. Once
same.
it got to the actiony part, I mean, it was kind of fun seeing
Yeah,
Sith students fighting zombies. Like, I mean, kind of wish that was like a
like a
an episode,
movie.
yeah, an episode of Star Wars Visions or something. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say
Yeah,
overall pretty good. There's a few things that I'm missing out, but yeah,
overall pretty solid experience. That's awesome.
yeah.
You have a great YouTube channel, which
Well,
is
thank
called
you.
Fine Editions. You have a variety of content on there. You have some stuff looking at books. You looked at a lightsaber book, a journal from Anakin. You have some unboxing related content related to supernatural encounters. You
Hmm.
have some Lego Star Wars videos,
Yeah,
and then you have your kind of pioneer series, the Comlink Chatter podcast, which is kind of a deep dive into the comic book series
yeah.
and reviewing those is what that has been. So tell us what was your inspiration to start the YouTube channel? What were your goals? Why did you begin? And how have you been enjoying content creation on your channel?
All right. So how I got into it, I've kind of always wanted to do YouTube. I just I wasn't confident enough in myself to be able to keep on a conversation with the camera,
Yeah,
and even just talking through a video. Like I'd rather
yeah,
just like show the stuff and move on. Filling in airtime, I guess. I wasn't very good at, or I wasn't confident enough in that. But I wanted to make Lego videos since I was a kid. And so let's see, maybe a year ago. I think I started about a year ago. Um, whenever I was reading Dawn of the Jedi and like the Quinlan Voss story and a lot of the stuff, I was just kind of binging on Star Wars stuff. And I was like, I'm not retaining any of this. Like, I'm almost numb to it. Like, I want to
mhm,
read the whole thing, but I'm just not able to grasp onto it. Um, because I'm like, some of this stuff I might read one more time, you know, in my life or
yeah,
whatever. Um, and I'm not going to read it next week. So I feel like I'm just going to forget it. And so I was like, okay, maybe I should just like review it or
mhm,
talk about it. Or if I talk to people, I'll be able to retain it better because I loved watching Matt Wilkins' Stupid Chainsaw Productions. Actually, my number one podcast for the past few years on what is it, Spotify, was the Star Wars Legends podcast. And oh man, I'd listen to that thing all the time, night, day, like
yeah.
anytime I could. And I'm so sad that that he took it off of Spotify. So I was going to listen to it, and I was like, no. Um, but uh, I was like, okay, these guys, they're talking about Star Wars. They've got a bit of an agenda, and they stick with it, and they just go with it.
Mm,
Well, let's see, 2020 was whenever I met Ben, um, who
mm,
was in my first two episodes, and then I believe he was on episode 5 of the Comlink Chatter podcast. Him and another one of his friends came to me and was like, "Hey, let's do a podcast and let's talk about some Star Wars in universe, like different things." And I was like, "Well, that sounds like a great idea." And so, of course, we dropped it, didn't talk about it, and then I got this idea. Okay, I want to be able to retain stuff. I want to go through the expanded universe and just like dive into it really good, talk to people about it. Um, I think I also wanted to have kind of a video log of what my collection was, because
Yeah.
I would post it on my Instagram, my personal one, and I just take a picture of my book haul or whatever it was, and I'd always say a fine addition to my collection because General Grievous is cool, um, and I always thought that was funny. I was like, that's funny. I can say that about my stuff. Um, but yeah, I started um, the podcast just talking with Ben because him and I would always talk at church. We talk about Star Wars, and we're like, all right, let's just hit record. Let's just talk. And like, we did. How did we get into Star Wars, and um, what what's the deal with canon or whatever it was? Because I felt like people didn't understand it very well, and he had his own perspective. He's more of a Disney canon fan, and I thought it was a good mix that we had. But YouTube was kind of a, let me just put videos here, and then I can just have the podcast. And then I started getting ideas of, oh, I should review this one book here. Oh, there's expanded universe in this. You had your obscure expanded universe series, and that just gave me some inspiration of different books. Like I never wanted to like review the same book as you, and so like you did your was it like 2 weeks or a week of the obscure EU?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, it was like every day, and I was like, all right, I'm sitting on this video. If he posts it, I'm probably not going to post it, or I'll wait a little bit and then post it. But you didn't, and so I was like, okay, all right.
The Anakin Skywalker Journal.
Yes. Did you ever review that one?
I did not. I love the video that you made about it.
Well, thank you.
And I now have it in my eBay cart to get
Nice.
sometime soon, hopefully.
You might get additions to the
I might
book.
get some additions to the lore from some 7-year-old.
Yes. Some Canon BMX stickers or whatever it was. Custom fan art.
Yes.
But
some doodles.
Yes. But yeah, I just like to do little fun things, anything that piques my interest. If I read a book, I just want to be able to retain it, so I'll review it or write a review or something like that. And then it just kind of became, oh, this is kind of easy. Then I was like, wait a minute, I can make Lego videos. My wife told me before we got married that I could have the Legos in the basement if I made something that we would have to show the guests, be like, oh, look at this cool Lego thing. And I went, I know what I'm doing. And so that's whenever I started Project Tatooine. And I'm going to try to recreate every scene from the movies of the original 6 films. And then I would like to build some pieces for some expanded universe things.
So cool.
Like Darth Revan versus the Krayt Dragon. That would be neat. Obi-Wan in the scene in Kenobi whenever Plug-Eye and the Tuskens are like in that cavern and the settlers are attacking them. Different things like that.
Absolutely.
But,
and you've already done one thing from the expanding universe with your fantastic Waru.
Oh yes, Waru.
Custom, where you even put Luke into Waru. He was swimming in Waru's depths, which was amazing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. At the Lego store they had those pieces, and I was like, Let me get those. Then I was like, wait a minute, this would make a perfect Waru. And listening to the Legends podcast, especially from I think it was like back in 2020, and then even 2016, they would talk about Waru for president, and so I had to put that little hashtag in there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I I might do another. Might have to make another one of them. I think I built up some more of those pieces into my collection. But there's some other custom EU characters like Uru, I think is his name. Uru, I think,
Yeah.
from Tales of the Jedi.
Hmm.
I need to make him. And then what's the head that sits on the desk in the Sith
In the
Council?
it begins with
What's
an
his name?
S.
Yeah,
Simeon or
something like that.
Sirius or something like that.
Yeah, you look at that guy and you're like, why is he still alive? Oh, he just was so angry he stayed alive. It's like, okay, Darth
Hmm.
Maul surviving is okay. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe Filoni read that one comic one time and was like, "Hey, I could use this."
yeah, maybe, I don't know.
But
But
so it sounds like you've really enjoyed your Star Wars Expanding Universe YouTubing so
yes,
far with
I
your
have.
various live streams and videos.
Yes, I have. I think the best thing is meeting people. I thought I'd
Mm,
just throw it online and see what happens. Um, and I didn't expect to make a lot of friends along the
yeah.
way, but it's been very nice. I've been, you know, bunch of Discord. Like I wasn't on Discord very much. Now I'm in a ton of them, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
stack up, don't they?
they do. I had to turn off notifications because I don't have like my wife would use this computer to do her schooling, and it would ding every 5 seconds. And she's like, I was like, that's annoying. Do you want to turn that off? And she was like, I don't know how to. And I was like, oh, that's my stuff. Let me deactivate all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the community I enjoy. There's some hot messes of drama, but especially with like the credibility of things, and it's like, guys, this is fiction. We don't have to get we don't have to get worked up about it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I do think if Disney wants our money, they need to give us something to buy, and I don't see why not. If
Yeah.
Aliens 3, the original draft, gets released, or if for some reason they kept Indiana Jones 5 in the Indiana Jones canon, we can't get a book once a year,
Yeah,
and like if
absolutely.
if the DC animated universe can still continue, why can't we get this?
Very true.
Shoot, if Zack Snyder got to do his own
Cut.
Justice League movie, like
Yeah.
I feel like people like the expanded universe more than they like his movies.
Hmm.
But I mean, I enjoy his movies. I think they're an acquired taste, but you know, some people don't, some people do. But it's like he got what he wanted. People watched it. People would have gone to the theater to see it, I think. Um, but yeah. Mm.
Yeah, hopefully we can get something new. But it sounds like you believe that fandom's an important aspect of being a Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
like mentioning the community and stuff like that. Do you think the positives outweigh the good overall? What do you think attrib the positive aspects or of the fandom add or enhance your view of the material itself?
I think they provide, more perspective,
Mm,
because you could say that you really liked Tales of the Jedi, the comic series, because it ties in with this, or there's this underlining theme, or it's something here, and I could completely hate it. Um, for whatever reason it is. And I could hear what you have to say and go, you know what, that's a good point. Maybe if I reread it in this view, I'll appreciate it more. And I think that can, change
Mm.
how we view things. I mean, that's how it is with the prequels. Um,
True.
the community, I would say, the community made them quote terrible movies. Um, you know, but then the community, I think, has come around even more and gone, you know what? They're not that bad. I think that was a bit of help from Disney as well, from some like additions to the franchise. But um, I think that community is very important for that. Um,
Mm.
but yeah.
Can you tell us about any future plans you might have for the channel? Any plans for the immediate future? What comics are coming up on Comlink Chatter? Any future video ideas?
All right. So I've actually got a list of it on here. Um, where's it at? Okay. Um, so for some of the stuff, I'd like to go through the rest of the Republic comics, the some of the main arcs from the Marvel series, the 77 Marvel series.
Gotta
Um,
have Starfighters of Aduba 3 with Jackson in there.
yeah, we got to do a whole Jackson episode.
Yes.
Um, Sam and I both read these, but we just haven't gone and reviewed them yet, because it was around the time that I was getting married, and he was working on moving. But the saga of Beg's Darklighter, that's something that really stood out to me, along with the I think it was, what's his name, the other from the Sons of Tatooine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, was it Dak? No, no, Dak
Was
was a
it
different guy.
Hobby?
It
No.
was Tank.
Tank. Yeah.
Tank. That story arc I adored.
Good stuff.
Like I just picked up Rebellion. What is it? 1 through 4 or something. I was
Yeah.
like, this is fantastic art. This is fantastic story. Like I didn't know I could really like connect with those characters that way. And little did I know that there was setup from Empire, and so I went and read that. And then you have like the storyline with that one clone trooper that works for the Rebel Alliance, and like,
Abel.
yeah, Abel. Um, I'd like to explore some of those, and then even finish Tales of the Jedi and KOTOR, and just work our way towards. I think Phantom Menace. Work our way towards that, and then just kind of keep going. Finish Republic, Dark Times, some of the main series, and occasionally I'd like to go through and do like I'd like to do the Tag and Bink series.
So good. So
It's
fun.
not EU, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not EU, but we'd like it to be.
yes. And then some other stories here and there, maybe a handful of tales. Um, I do like the goofy aspects of the Star Wars publishing, um, but yeah, that's kind of what I've got for Comlink. But for the channel, just miscellaneous reviews right now. Um, some young reader reviews. I'd like to make some more reviews of my fan printing series, uh,
Yeah.
where I
Volume
review.
2, 3, and 4 still. Oh, volume 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm on volume 3, or I don't have all of these,
Mm.
but I'd like to go through and review them. My main reason was I didn't know what was in the books whenever I bought them, and I want to provide a way for people to be able to see that.
Absolutely.
With the not so famous authors, Tim Z and different
Joe S. and all those
Joe
guys.
S. Yeah, and Matt W. Um, but I'd like to do that, and then also there's some other like fan, I think, not fan fictions, but like I guess fan printings of like the chronologies by Noah and different things like that that I feel like people don't know a whole lot about unless they have I know his following knows about that stuff. But then also the big thing um, would be the holiday special edition.
Yes. Tell
Um,
us a bit about that.
okay, so I'll kind of give some of the backstory for that, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Um, so let's see, what was it? I don't remember what it was, but I was just hanging out with my friends. It was getting late at night, and after a certain point, I kind of get slap happy, and I start playing like dumb things on YouTube. And I was like, guys, guess what? We're gonna watch. We're gonna watch the holiday special, and they're like, oh no, what is that? And so I play it for them, and we're sitting through the Wookiees living life, getting ready for the holidays. And one of my friends say, you know, this this could be good.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, editing saved the original Star Wars, so I'm sure editing could save this. And so they were like, yeah, I mean, there's some things that you could cut out, a lot of things. There's some things you could change around, different things. We didn't watch the whole thing. We just skipped through it. I showed him the best parts. Um, but yes, I think I've made a few videos that I've published,
Hmm.
some rough drafts. I'm working on one right now, which is the opening, which I've completely redone. Um, I would like your input for it sometime before
Can't
I
wait to
post
see
it.
it.
Um, Maybe we could do that after if you're not busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not good at editing, but I would like to learn how to edit, and I feel like I've learned quite a bit. I've gotten some help from some friends about just shading different things here, cutting there. I wanted to take some of the best of the visual expanded universe from the video games and live action cutscenes and different things, even some of the worst people would say about the holiday special. I think it's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I'd like to take that and kind of put them together and like bring some attention to it because people would be like, where did you get this scene from this person doing this thing? It's like, oh, well, that's from this video game. Um, but just to kind of add it together all there. Um, but it's just something to do, I guess. I mean, that's the whole thing with my YouTube channel. It's just a little hobby I have, not taking it
Yeah.
too serious. Like I got stream bombed by a bunch of people one time. That was a wild time.
You want to
Um,
talk about that story a little bit?
sure. So this wonderful bookshelf I have behind me, um, I had them in like maybe 7 boxes or something. And I was wanting to set up the shelves, and I wanted to do it on stream so I could chat with people, and just be able to document setting it up. And so I went live, and I titled it "Married Man Sets Up Sets Up Bookshelves for the Expanded Universe at His New Home." Well, apparently that hit some weird algorithms. I went on trending. I had like maybe the most viewers on at the time. People were saying racial slurs. People were making jokes. People People are like, I'm reporting you for this here. Wait a minute, this is a Star Wars channel? Why is this on my opening page? I'm like, I'm just putting up shelves. And someone was like, wait, this is a Star Wars channel? This is pretty cool. Let me subscribe. So at least I got a subscriber from that. But for like for quite a little bit, like no one was on. And I was like, well, I got to go to the bathroom. So I ran to the bathroom. And then Matt Wilkins shows up. You show up. Marcel's on there. And y'all are just looking at my blank room going,
Yeah.
huh?
And Matt was like, "Wow, this is thrilling."
Man. But I think you can even hear the toilet flush whenever. I was like, well, shoot. Okay, because I was in the chat on my phone, and yeah, I would just go up and down the stairs getting the bookshelves. But oh man, that was the funniest thing.
It's a
Sam
crazy time.
Sam was like, man, I wasn't even there.
Yeah. Yeah, the one time he wasn't there.
Yes. But I've also done some live streams building Lego.
Yeah.
And so those have been pretty good. YouTube Shorts are kind of odd because you could get one thing with 1,000 views and then one would be 2 views. And
Yeah. It's
I don't
weird.
know. I don't know how that works. I'd like to look into the statistics and different things there for that. But
For sure.
yeah, live streaming's fun.
It is. It feels exhilarating somehow because you
Yeah.
never know when a bunch of hundreds of dregs from the internet are gonna bomb your stream where you said you're a newly married man. You know, you never know when that might happen.
Be careful when you get married. Don't title it that.
I will learn from your
Or
experience there.
unless you want views, because that's my most viewed live stream. It's like 100 and something, and usually I get about 30 views. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you should start titling all of them "Comlink Chatter, Newly Married Man."
That's funny. Or I could do that and then just go and change it later.
Change it later. Yeah.
That's funny.
Something that you alluded to earlier was like a continuation of
Okay.
the Star Wars expanded universe.
Yeah.
What are your opinions on continuation? Do you want for it to happen? Do you hope for it to happen? Do you think that we should campaign for it? What are your opinions there on continuation?
I think we should campaign for it. We should also, if we have the confidence and the drive to do it, we should review what's out there, talk about it like it's still alive,
Yeah.
because I mean it is.
Mm-hmm.
We might not get official publishings of things, but we still get old material. And if we talk about this old material and we talk about this obscure extended version of this short story the actor wrote, what was the guy who played Dak? He
Yeah.
released it, and we talk about it like it's new Star Wars. Eventually Disney is going to catch wind of it and go, wait a minute, what else do we have? How can we squeeze the money out of these guys?
Yeah.
And
they'll have us. They'll have us hook, line, and
oh
sinker.
yeah, put Escape to Dagu, that thing's gonna boom instantly. Like, I'm surprised it's not around right now. Like the way some of the other novels, short stories, and things have been floating around. But I think supernatural encounters is our definitely the thing that we should kind of rally behind, I'd say. I think another thing that we should really push for, I really liked it, and it was a story that got me into the expanded universe more, and that was the Force Unleashed game.
Yeah.
But I think if we get Sam Witwerth's attention, he could be like, you know what, I'd be okay with doing that again. And we get an official continuation of number 3. if we support the re-releases, if we talk about them at the
The
very least,
remasters and stuff. Yeah,
remasters, all those different things, then I could see them be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do Force Unleashed 3.
definitely.
Um, Shoot, if they didn't want to do too much work, I'm sure they could throw a little draft of something out that they were working on. Um, Give us the script for the Darth Maul game,
Yeah,
something like that. Shoot, they could have a Legends um, series called Lost Star Wars, and just
yeah,
release those old stories. They could release the stuff that Joe releases on Star Wars Timeline, and they'd have to pay the authors or whatever. But who knows how much stuff is still, stuff that they bought and they just haven't released, and people
yeah.
just did a job and they don't care, you know.
Mm.
But I think with continuation, um, if they have a story to tell, I think they should tell it. I don't think that they should just start pumping stuff out.
Mm.
I don't think they should try to re-canonize, work it into the new canon, try to make it one canon. I don't think you should do that. Um, I I personally read some of the new canon that could potentially fit in
Yeah,
to it. That's kind of a hot mess because they're either mid or terrible. Um, but I think that they should use the Legends banner as let's actually do something big with the
mm.
media, like, or with this media here, with the books, the comics, because I mean that's what they're doing with Star Wars Visions, and I enjoy Star Wars Visions. I like the things that they have out, but some of the stuff I think fits into the expanded universe better than the new canon. But that's a hot topic for another podcast.
Yeah,
uh, but I think if they get the right people and they have the story that they want to tell, they should do it. They shouldn't just overdo it, try to pump them out. I think if they have a Star Wars book with Han, Luke, and Leia in it, it'll sell a lot, and not just to people like us. People see Han, Luke, and Leia, and they go, "Hey, there's that." Then they'll buy their Essential Legends collections. They'll get the audiobooks. I think once they get through a good chunk of the Essential Legends collection books, they'll kind of probably look at the numbers and go, you know what? What if we just did a new one? What if we released Escape from Dagu? What if we did this one? I don't
mm.
know. That's just kind of what I'm thinking.
Completely
Hopefully,
concur.
hopefully we're alive by the time they do that. But
Yes.
yeah, but
Don't make us wait like 40 years. You know,
I
sooner rather than later would be nice.
right. I could sense uh, a small reboot of the new canon coming. I just kind of have that feeling,
Yeah,
especially how they've got the different medias separate. I could see how they would either just like straight up contradict, because they already do that, but I feel like they're just going to be even more abrupt about it. And people, they're going to start losing interest, and they're going to be like, all right, what can we bring back? What can we beat the dead horse? Um, oh, there's the Star Wars Legends. People are complaining for that. Let's give them something. And then they'll go, wait a minute. I don't know.
yeah. I think it's definitely an inevitability. I don't think we're just being like overly optimistic. I think it's definitely possible. Completely concur with you. In there, you mentioned supernatural encounters,
Yes.
which you've read a little bit of. What are your thoughts on supernatural encounters?
I um I see it as an official work, official piece. It was an official unpublished
Yeah.
piece, I believe, or an official with permission published on his website, which there's nothing illegal going on. I think
Yeah.
he's got it like copyrighted or whatever, which is completely protected because of Disney, whatever. They gave him permission. So like anyone that says this is unofficial, it's like, well, it's official, but it's just like he's publishing it himself, you
Yeah.
know. But I think that it's a it's a fine addition to the expanded universe, and a fine addition to my collection. I think it also opens the floodgates for other content,
Mm.
other tie-in things. Um, I like the elaboration on ET's species.
Me too.
That was always something that I was just like, oh my gosh. Like to me, that was headcanon, and I was like, this is great. And which little did I know back then that in the books that it was actually a thing, and it's
Yeah.
not something Joe came up with. He just elaborated on it a little bit more.
Yep.
Um, a lot of the stuff he's not just making up, if, to my knowledge, he's
Yeah.
just bringing it together with a narrative of like with the debate throughout the book. Is this real? You know,
Hmm.
and it's kind of this interesting meta thing going on. But I'm a really big fan. I really like Joe. He's real nice. He answers all of my dumb questions that I ask him,
Yep. Yep.
and
He
he's
always he always has an ear. I would send him paragraphs and he'd always, answer everyone. So
yeah.
nice.
And so yeah, I feel like I'm you know connected more to like someone that understands how this works, the publishing works, the
Yeah.
deadlines, the universe, different things there. It makes me feel kind of small, but I like being small so I can learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very nice.
Super good guy. Glad to hear that you're enjoying the story so far.
Mhm.
How far through are you so far? It's
I'm at
it's
book.
a mega. It's a mega work.
I'm on book 3. Um,
Nice.
what is it? The Celestials and
The Architects of
yes,
Madness.
yes.
Nice.
I just went through the retelling of Delatni Throws a Shade or
Yeah.
Shape,
Yep.
which I thought was a wild story, um, which I would like to review. But I know if I review that, I have to have a good understanding of supernatural encounters. But I'm also trying to like not go too overboard with supernatural encounters because I feel like everyone else is. And so I'm like, you do that. You know it better than me. I don't want to just be the copycat over here.
No, we would love more supernatural encounters videos. Bring them on, Brady. We'd love to hear your
Well,
thoughts.
thank you. Maybe once I get through that, um, I might put some here or there. I was thinking of doing a video about the different um, movies that are referenced in the EU that could fit into the EU or something like that.
Yeah.
But nobody steal it. I'm kidding. But yeah, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place and
Not at
rambling,
all.
but Lego Expanded Universe reviews I'd like to get into. I have a few Expanded Universe Lego Star Wars sets and
Nice.
just getting into that. But yeah.
Yeah, I have one singular one of the Shadow Guards that came with
Ooh.
the Shadow Troopers.
Yeah.
That's I think the only EU Lego set I have. They're just so expensive,
Nice.
unfortunately. So that's a content niche that hasn't really been filled. So it would
Yeah.
be great to see some Star Wars EU Lego stuff on your channel for sure.
Well, thank you. I'll have to get to that then.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you so much for taking the time today to sit down and talk about how you got into Star Wars and the expanding universe. I loved hearing your perspectives as always. And for everyone who's watched the video, for everyone who's watched, make sure to head on over to Fine Editions, to his YouTube channel. You can find his Instagram page, his Discord, all that linked in the description as well. Make sure to head on over there. Great content. Love the work you're doing. Very glad we crossed paths so that we can be friends. And thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to sit down with me for this video.
Of course. Thank you so much. I do also have a Spotify,
Okay.
which I think it's just Comlink Chatter Podcast.
I'll
I don't
get that
have it
as well.
linked together very well. I just kind of threw it together. But I usually post the audio versions of the Comlink Chatter podcast along with other chats that we have.
Nice.
But thank you so much for letting me come on here, and it's an honor that I could join you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to more of your content, more of these talking EU, different things like that. But thank you so much.
Of course, of course. Thank you for coming on, man. And thank you to everyone for watching. And with that said, we'll see you guys next time.